Won't it be Ryan the Great? And today, my bad. It's been a minute. It has been a hot minute. It's June 1st where I am. This is probably not going to get posted. Actually, it's probably till tomorrow, so June 2nd. Yeah, it's been a minute, guys. What is it? It's probably been like a month or maybe like I want to say like 4 weeks. Let's look. Has it been a month? Let's see. Yeah, it has been a month since my last video. That's rough. So that's my fault. That was not my plan though. Like the plan was to post, obviously. The plan was to do stuff here, but everything just got busy. We had baseball playoffs for the prep. Obviously, you see it back there. And then we had lacrosse. They got to the PCL championship. They fell to LaSalle. Um, and yeah, and everything's not stopped. None of the teams, none of those teams are not in the state playoffs. So broadcasting season is pretty much done for St. Joe's Prep, and yeah, so it's kind of just back to this. Once again, the plan was to post. I didn't want to leave this behind, but it's kind of just how the cookie crumbled, I guess. And then we had exams, and then that ended May 27th. So then I just decided just we'll just put it off until now. So this is what we're doing. So yeah, but let's get into the video. You guys don't care about hear about any of this stuff, but I just thought it was good to talk about where I've been. Anyway, let's get right into it. Yeah, so today we're going to be discussing the NBA Finals. Obviously, one of my last videos was my preview of the NBA playoffs. I was really wrong. I'll come on here and admit that very wrong about what I thought was going to happen. Obviously, most of it did not happen, but I did get the West winner correct. I predicted the Oklahoma City Thunder to get to the NBA Finals. I didn't even think the Pacers were like getting out of the first round. So kudos to them; they were able to do it. So yeah, we're just going to be previewing the NBA Finals. Some key points for both teams. How I think both teams can win. What's there to look for, and then we'll give our prediction at the end of the video. So let's get right into it. Before we get right into it, guys, make sure you guys subscribe with your post notifications on. Go subscribe to my Brother in the Green blogs. Make sure you subscribe to my second channel at Ryan the Combat Great. Make sure you guys go follow me on X at RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok at RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast. And make sure you guys go follow me on Twitter at Great Podcast. Now, for you, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into the video. So, starting off, let's get this up here. Starting off with our first topic. These teams are very, very similar. I think that's what makes this NBA Finals so great. Some people are talking about, oh, it's not great for the business because the Knicks aren't in it, the Celtics aren't in it, the Lakers aren't in it. This is just great basketball overall. These are two teams that have played great over the course of the playoffs. The Thunder obviously dominated their way through Memphis, had a tough series against the Denver Nuggets, but ultimately prevailed. Then they had a pretty easy series, I guess you should say, against the Minnesota Timberwolves minus that game where they lost by 40 points. But then the Indiana Pacers, I mean, they got their way through the Bucks. Obviously, the Bucks, they were in, Lillard was injured, Kuzma played like trash and all that. But then they had another tough series. They played Cleveland. They were able to come, but Cleveland was a bit injured, and then they defeated the New York Knicks. Now I did predict the Pacers to win this series, but it was tough. Everybody thought the Knicks could come back, and obviously the games were very closely contested. The Pacers came back from 20 points down. And yeah, it was just a great playoff run for both these teams. This has probably been the most entertaining NBA playoffs we've had in the past couple of years, and I think it's going to culminate in a great championship match. Obviously, both these teams have never won an NBA championship before. Both teams have traded Paul George, which has led to both of them pretty much getting to the championship. The Thunder obviously traded Paul George for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and a multitude of draft picks, and then the Pacers traded Paul George. Which I think ended up in Sabonis, which then they traded for Halliburton. And obviously Halliburton, one of the best players, if not the best player on this team. So yeah, both these teams are similar in history-wise and, how their playoff runs have been. But overall, on the court, how are these teams similar? First way, depth. I mean, both these teams are probably some of the deepest in the playoffs. The Thunder, they got Caruso, they got Wallace, they got Williams, they got Hartenstein, they got Holmgren. I mean, they got a bunch of depth on this team. I'm probably missing a few right now. Isaiah Joe is another. This team is just has so much depth on them. And anybody can get going at any time, as you can see by the third bullet point. And then the Pacers, I mean, they have a lot of depth themselves. You could say that the Pacers' depth is better. I mean, they have Nembhard, they have Nesmith, they have Mathurin, who who, all three of those guys can score a lot of points in not a lot of time. Neesmith, I mean, he scored, a lot of threes against the Knicks in game one, which led to the comeback. Matherin, I think he scored like 20 points in like 12 minutes in one of the past couple of games. And then Nemhard can shoot the lights out of, out the joint. And I'm trying to think of others who can get going. I mean, those three guys, TJ McConnell, a good leader off the bench, to kind of lead the team when Halliburton's on the bench. That's another guy. I'm definitely missing somebody. But these guys can get going in any shape, at any time, any place, anywhere. That's my third bullet point, obviously. As I just mentioned, Neesmith, he got hot in game one. There's guys like Caruso that can shoot the lights out. Isaiah Joe as well. I mentioned those guys. But these guys can get hot. They do a really great job of it when their team's down, when their team's up. They keep them in it or they bring them back. And then ball movement is obviously a big thing as well. These teams love to get out in transition. They love to move the ball around the perimeter. They love to get everybody a touch. Something very important to success in, I think, today's NBA and today's playoffs. And I think these playoffs are just a further proven to my point that you have to have depth in the playoffs. You have to be able to move the basketball. You have to be able to get out in transition. If you want a successful team, both these teams embody that. And then obviously both of them a superstar / star. A lot of people are debating whether Tyrese Halliburton is a superstar. I think it depends on how he performs in these NBA finals is whether we can regard him as one, but he's not a guy that goes out there and drops you, 25, 30 points a game a night. Somebody like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is that. So regardless of whether you think Halliburton or, or Siakam or whatever is a superstar or not, you cannot deny that they are stars, and you cannot deny that you have to game plan for at least Halliburton almost every single night because he makes such an impact, even when the ball is not in his hands. Obviously, he can score. Had a great, scoring spark against the New York Knicks in game 6, to really put the icing on the cake, to put the nail in the coffin on the next season. But even without the ball, he has great ball movement off the ball. He's able to move the ball around on the perimeter. He's able to set his teammates up really, really well. Even when he doesn't have the ball, when he's moving the ball around, I mean, he can get a triple double, whenever he wants. It depends on what he wants to do that night. And we've seen points of the season where Halliburton, doesn't necessarily have to score the basketball. He just passes the ball around, lets his teammates do the rest of the work when it comes to the scoring aspect, and he just kind of sets them up. That's kind of, I think, the reason why people don't see him as a superstar, just because he's not dropping those points, but he makes such more of an impact without the basketball. Shai, I think it's a little bit different. Obviously, he needs the basketball. He gets to the free throw line a lot. A lot of people like to, I wouldn't say make fun of, well, I guess you could say make fun of it, but they'd like to critique him in his game with that. But he really needs more touches to, set his teammates up. Halliburton, he doesn't really need the basketball to be that effective. Shai can be effective without the basketball, but he's definitely a lot more effective when he has the basketball, when he's actually doing the work with the ball. I hope I'm trying to make sense when I say that. But yeah, these teams are just very, very similar. The superstars are similar. Their depth is similar. The way they play is similar. I mean, everything is just similar. And I think I said similar like 5 times in the same sentence, but nonetheless, I mean, these teams are great. And it's going to be a great matchup. But anyway, getting into the Thunder and their keys to win, as I mentioned, you can debate on whether you think the Thunder or the Pacers have the better depth, but in my opinion, I think it could be the Indiana Pacers because there's just there might be a smaller group, but it just seems like they can get hot a lot faster. Neesmith, Nemhard, Matherin, I mentioned all the points that they get in a small amount of time. If you're the Oklahoma City Thunder, you need to get your bench. When you get your bench guys in the game, they got to be shooting the basketball. When you're, taking your starters out, and you're trying to get them on the bench, you got to get your bench guys shooting pretty much immediately because of the fact that you want to get them hot, because the Pacers 9 times out of 10 are getting their guys hot. They're getting their guys shots up. The Thunder, I think that they, as I said, as I'm saying on my third bullet point here, Shai needs consistent touches, but those when he passes the ball around, you got to get the bench guys in there. You got to get them touches. You got to get them shots up. You got to let them cut to the basket a bit more, just because of the fact that the Pacers can get their bench guys hot in a shorter amount of time, and you want to keep that. You want to keep with them if you are the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I'm touching on that point. You need to run with the Indiana Pacers. I probably should have put that one at the third point. Whatever. You need to run with the Pacers. The Pacers have a very explosive offense. We've seen it over the course of these playoffs that their offense, they just run. They just move and move and move. And they don't really ever take the pace. They don't really ever, pull back. They don't ever, stop with the ball movement, with the pace, with the scoring and transition. Not like literally 48 minutes. It is pedal to the metal. I messed that up there. It's pedal to the metal for 48 minutes. They never ever stop. With their pace and all that. So you got to run. You got to run in transition. You got to be able to stop them defensively. You got to be able to call the ball out, have that good communication, stop guys on the perimeter, set your defense up. Don't let them, get easy passes in transition that lead to points. That's just how you're going to lose momentum and ultimately lose games. But the Thunder, they've been good with that over the course of the season. They've been good with stopping the ball. Their defense has obviously been the best this season as a team. And I think that that's something that they can do and most likely will do, but it is something that we also have to point out as well because of the fact that the Pacers are so good when it comes to their pace. And then for the Pacers, keys for them to win. You got to get open on the perimeter, and you got to be able to shoot the three ball well. I've mentioned that lots of guys can score lots of points in a short amount of time, but you got to be able to do it even better against the Oklahoma City Thunder because it's the best team in the NBA. The Thunder, no matter who is on the perimeter, whether it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, whether it's Jalen Williams, hell, whether it's Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren, it doesn't really matter who's on the perimeter for them. They play great defense nonetheless, and they're able to shut you down when it comes to trying to stop you from getting the ball in the passing lanes, shooting the three ball. And just moving the ball around in general. They do a great job of stopping that. We've seen it in these playoffs, and that in the Pacers, as I said, they like to move the ball around. They like to have good pace. They like to keep everything at 100 miles an hour. So if you're the Indiana Pacers, you gotta get open on the perimeter. You gotta have those off-ball screens. You gotta be consistently moving. You can't just be standing around on the wing or in the corner waiting for the ball to come to you because the Thunder, they're going to take advantage of that. Now, I'm not saying that they won't do that. But, you can't really take possessions off if you're the Indiana Pacers. Now, will that tire you out? Yeah, possibly, but that's where you got to have faith in your bench if you're the Indiana Pacers. But, no matter really who's on the floor, you got to be moving almost 100% of the time. And you got to get the Thunder outside of the paint. They got two tall trees in there in Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein who play great inside. In the perimeter. They play great defense. They make you pass the ball out. They contest your shots really, really well. And these guys, they just do a really great job of, stuff like that. They don't let you get easy points in the paint, and you got to get them outside of the paint. I'm talking about my point of, they can play on the perimeter. It's better to really have them playing on the perimeter than inside, so you can have those easy cuts to guys like Nesmith, Siakam, and others because, you need easy points inside the paint at some time. So I think that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to, guys like Miles Turner is going to have to play on the perimeter maybe a bit more to get, either Isaiah Hartenstein or Chet Holmgren outside so you can get those easy cuts to the basket to kind of get those points there. You also got to rebound better. Miles Turner has been great. He's been regarded as one of the best rebounders and defensive centers in the NBA over the course of his career. And he's going to have to really step up his game in this series because Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren, they do a great job of that as well. They do a great job of rebounding, outlet passing, making sure the ball gets back to the other team's side and, not a lot of time. And if you're Isaiah Hartenstein, if you are Pascal Siakam, if you are Miles Turner, Siakam especially, who's done a great job of offensive rebounding in the Knicks series, you got to do a better job of making sure that you rebound, you get the ball out, you outlet pass, you get the ball out to the 3-point line. If you're able to offensive rebound, you got to do that sort of stuff. And then when you're talking about the pace, listen, I've talked about over the course of this video that the Pacers, they've done a great job of keeping the pace up, 48 minutes, pedal to the metal. But when you are the Pacers now, you really have to keep that up because when you played against the Knicks, when you blew the one game at whatever, game 2, game 3, whatever it was, you stopped, you just sat there. You didn't keep going with the pace. You just kind of, settled down. You tried to run out the clock. If you're the Pacers, you just can't do that. You're not a team that just can hold the ball and score like that. You got to be consistently moving And it's just, and they did that against the Knicks in Game 6, and they didn't blow the lead. So if you're the Pacers, you just can't really hold the ball. You have to keep going, even if you're up against the Oklahoma City Thunder. You can't drain the clock. While the Thunder can definitely come back, the Pacers are more of a risk of blowing a lead because of the fact that we know they're not a team that can just stop and run a screen, pick and roll, and score. There are times where they can maybe do that, but it's not going to be the majority of the time where they will. So you have to keep going because you can't drop games to the Thunder. Any game that you can win, you have to. If the Thunder are not on their A game, you have to take advantage of that. You have to be perfect if you're the Indiana Pacers, because the Thunder are the best team in the NBA. There's no doubt about it coming into this series. So if you're the Pacers, you got to keep up the pace. That's probably the most important one if you are the Indiana Pacers. You can't get lazy. You can't stop against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Everything's got to be perfect in that aspect of the game. And then moving on to the things to watch out for in this series. The the Oklahoma City Thunder obviously have the best defense in the NBA. Whether it comes to their perimeter defense, contesting shots, making sure that there's no easy layups inside. They're just great overall defensively, and their shifts as well. That's one of my favorite things about their defense on the perimeter. And then the Indiana Pacers, I was just talking about it, raving about it, how they have an explosive offense. They get out in transition. They're pedal to the metal 100% of the time. And if you're the Oklahoma City Thunder, you got to be able to stop that. You got to be able to get back in transition. So who is going to get the advantage in that? In this, are the Thunder going to be better defensively, or the Pacers going to be better offensively? Who is going to win? And can the Oklahoma City Thunder out offense the Pacers or score, be a great offense as well as they are defensively? Something to watch out for. And then the battle down low, I was just talking about the rebounding. Who's going to win those rebounding matchups? You obviously have Siakam, Turner facing off against Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren. It's going to be a battle down low. Obviously, Siakam is a scorer as well. Miles Turner can score when he needs to, but is definitely more of a defensive center and rebounder. That's kind of what he's been known for, as I mentioned, over the course of his career. Isaiah Hartenstein, kind of the same thing. Holmgren, once again, can definitely score, does a great job of it, but there are times where he's going to have to rebound and play better defense in this series. He's probably going to have to be matched up with someone like Pascal Siakam, just kind of based off his size. I don't know if he can really take down a guy like Miles Turner. So you're going to have to really watch out for these battles down low. It's going to be fun. It's really going to be fun. Who wins the transition battle? Once again, I was talking about it over the course of the video, where the Pacers, they can obviously get out in transition. The Thunder, they're going to have to stop it. Something to watch out for there. And then which team can out-depth the other? That's obviously a weird statement, but both these teams have incredible depth. Role players play better at home, but role players are definitely a key to in the playoffs because, your guys are tired. The superstars, they play a lot of minutes over the course of the season. Even the fifth starter or whatever, lots of guys play a lot of minutes when you're in the starting lineup. So those bench guys off the bench, they're going to have to come in there, shoot the three ball well, play good defense, kind of, the 3-and-D guys. That's kind of what you see when it comes to championship teams. That's most of the bench depth, I guess you should say. That's kind of the guys that make the most impact. So if you're, like guys like Alex Caruso, if you're guys like Nesmith, like guys like Nembhard, Isaiah Joe, amongst others, you're going to have to really come off the bench and provide a lot of assistance to both teams because of the fact that, once again, role players matter. Role players are key to winning a championship. And that's kind of what you got to watch out for in the series. But what is my prediction? Who do I think is going to win the NBA championship? I think the Thunder are going to win. I had them winning in 5 games. I think if it was the Knicks, then they would have swept them. But I think the Thunder will win in 5 games. I think Tyrese Halliburton and Siakam can get you 1. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Isaiah Hartenstein, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams has been absolutely incredible throughout these playoffs. There are times where he kind of shrinks. But for the most time, he has been really great shooting the 3-ball in the playoffs. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, when he does touch the ball, he's able to make an impact. He scores an assist on most of the Thunder's points. And he is obviously going to be ready to go. He's the league MVP. So, I'm not saying Indiana can't give them a fight. I think most of the games will be a fight, but I think the Thunder will ultimately prevail, and I think that they will end up winning the series in 5 games. So, we're back at it. And I used too many ums in this video. hate those filler words. I tried to stop it, but yeah, we it's haven't done any speaking in a while. It's been a minute, so yeah, we got to get back into it. But yeah, that'll do it for this video, guys. Make sure to subscribe with the post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother in the Great Blogs. Make sure to go subscribe to my second channel at Around the Combat Great. Make sure you guys go follow me at X Around the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok at Around the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast. CR7 podcast episodes are releasing. Committed to Grind episodes coming out on WSJP's YouTube. And make sure you guys go follow me on Twitter, Around the Great Podcast. And as always, Brian the Great out. Peace.